Ladies and gentlemen, Fulcha Rashkatri and Shomer Bjug. Welcome back to the Tiny Room. I'm your co-host for the podcast, Michael, and I am here digitally with the man who has been described as the man who is on the most medication in the world. It's Benjamin.
I'm a fluffy unicorn.
Do you wanna? What's wrong with you, Ben? Have you got some sort? I've sustained some sort of injury.
I've only gone and fucked my back up, Michael. It's all that posing nude in rigorous positions.
It's one of my favourite songs by the Prodigy. I can't say that word. The Prodigy. But you know that band from the 90s, the English guys.
They've got very interesting haircuts.
Them, yeah.
It's their famous 1998 tune. I've gone and fucked my back up, fucked my back up, fucked my back up, bam, 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 bam. That one.
That was pretty good. You've used all your fucks in the first 5 minutes of the podcast. Well done.
Well, look, it's been a while. I've been itching to get a fuck in there somewhere.
Very good.
Unfortunately, I'm actually high as a bloody kite right now. I've an upset tummy. I have a strange sense of self. I'm a little bit fragmented, and I feel like an extra scene from Doctor Strange.
And you're drinking from a gigantic bottle of water. I think that's the biggest single bottle of water I've ever seen.
I've got a cotton mouth as well, because, medication. So I can't feel the tremendous pain in my back, but I can't feel much else either. So there you go. Anyway, looking forward to the podcast, Michael. I may not be able to give my distinct brand of analysis.
No, just and I
may veer off topic.
Very good. Benjamin, stop laughing. It sounds weird. That's a new laugh. Anytime someone develops a new laugh, you know something is going wrong. Where's your original laugh gone? Go on.
That one. On the upside, you'll be much funnier this week.
Oh, thanks, Ben.
To me, at least.
Benjamin, speaking of things which are amusing, we saw the Infinity Wars there last week.
We did the L War of the Infinites. It's good stuff.
Benjamin, people have been talking about the Infinity Wars a lot. You're familiar with our mutual friend Shane.
I am. He's a big time fan of the podcast.
Big time fan of the podcast. He was saying, as a somewhat of a mild criticism, he was saying that Thor's little journey was a bit of a waste of time. Do you remember that? Thor's little side quest to get a hammer.
Yeah. Classic.
And at
Thor.
first, when he said that to me, I thought, that's just a bit of begrudgery. Would you ever shut up? That's what I thought to myself the first time. But then I realized he has nothing to begrudge against Marvel films, so that doesn't make sense.
Okay.
So anyway, do you know Nando V Movies, the YouTube guy? He actually agreed with Shane, and he did a great little video. We'll throw a link in the description. He did a great video about making Thor's journey a bit more meaningful.
Oh, right. Okay. And
look, I won't spoil it because I won't spoil it. There's a loss. Basically, both Shane and Nando's points were that nothing really happens. There's no development. It's just Thor goes and gets a hammer.
Yeah, I suppose.
And then he has a hammer.
Yeah, and we get some questionable risks in terms of, you might die if you're exposed to a star, even though you definitely won't because we need you to save the third act of the film, kind of thing.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, look, Nando V Movies is a great thing. So if you're listening and you like this sort of thing, give that a listen. It's in the description below. Ben, though, here's my main point, right? While I was watching Infinity War, there was something about it that just didn't sit right with me. It stuck in my craw, as you would say.
I didn't realise that you were now a boat captain in the deep south of Louisiana.
I'm a salty old sea captain.
It's stuck in your craw. So.
Yes, I'm a seaman, if you will. But Benjamin, here's the thing, right? As you know, Benjamin, I am not a physicist.
You're not.
I'm not a physicist. Look,
you're not.
I'm a deeply intelligent person. But
That's your opinion.
I have seen almost every episode of Rick and Morty.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm telling you. But look, Ben, I have a physics question. It's not really, well, it is a physics question. It's about Infinity War. Right. Infinity War takes place on a galactic scale, would you say, Ben?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right? Different planets across space and time. Well, not time yet, but across space at least. And here's the thing that that didn't sit right with me. Right? The battle happens on Wakanda.
Yep.
Then Thor shows up, having had his own quest on Wakanda during the battle. And then Thanos shows up in Wakanda, having finished his battle on Titan.
Yeah.
Right? And all that's fine. And it all works very well in the terms of the plot. I really liked Infinity War, by the way. We don't want this to become the negative podcast, but this is just the thing. So, right. It all happens very well in terms of the plot, right? The series of things happen. Thor, spoilers obviously for Infinity War here.
Sure.
Thor gets attacked by Thanos on his ship, and then Thor goes off on his adventure. Thanos goes off and has his own little adventure, and then they meet back up on Earth.
Yeah, to have a little rematch.
I don't know why this bothered me in Infinity War more than any other science fiction thing. I think because of the vast distances that are involved.
Yeah.
But the film assumes a kind of, and I'm almost certainly going to pronounce this wrong a few times, a simultaneity of events.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Which just doesn't exist when you're dealing with those vast distances.
Okay.
Right, so what I mean is, right, Thanos attacks Thor's ship.
Yes.
And then Thanos leaves Thor's ship using the power of the Space Stone, which can teleport you instantly across any distance, it seems.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, here's the problem. It can teleport you instantly across any distance, but if you teleport from one side of the known universe to another, because it seems like in Marvel, different civilizations live in different galaxies, not just in different systems within our galaxy.
No, he's universe trekking.
Right.
So, yeah.
So if you teleport across the universe, there is no common, as far as I understand physics, Ben, and as I said, I am not a physicist. Maybe some physicists are listening and they can explain it better. But,
yeah, please do if you're listening.
Yeah, what are you saying, Ben? Are you trying to say I'm not explaining it well?
It's not what I said at all, Michael. You're projecting.
Wow, that medication has turned you into a real grouch. So what I'm saying is, right, that assumes there's some sort of universal now.
Okay, which can't possibly be true.
Which can't possibly be true as far as I understand physics. So, and then the further wrinkle is added in that Thanos is traveling from place to place by instant portal.
Yeah.
But Thor uses a ship.
Thor uses his ship in his original quest, but then he gets the Bifrost hammer.
The Bifrost. So he uses the ship to get to Nidavellir.
Yeah.
And we have to assume that ship is traveling faster than the speed of light.
First of all, well done on that pronunciation. And second of all, yes, you're correct.
Right? Nidavellir. That's a made-up word. All words are made up. But yeah, so Thor's traveling. That ship has to be traveling faster than light. So then the Bifrost, God knows, is the Bifrost is instant transportation? Is it across time and space? Who knows how that works? But the fact that they both go off and have their own separate adventures, and then arrive on Earth at the same now.
At the exact right now.
Exactly. Makes so little sense to me.
Yeah, it's completely wrong. It's completely wrong.
And I don't know why that bothers me about Infinity War and not other science fiction. Although, I think Star Wars, or as we call it on the podcast, Stars Wars, suffers from a similar problem.
I completely agree with you in terms of Thor's little side quest. I think, I completely agree with your theory in general. It's kind of interesting. We've never really considered it from that point of view before. But in terms of Thor's side quest,
yes,
it makes less sense than it does in terms of Thanos' side quest, because Thanos is linked to the Black Order. Right. And so their failure would automatically designate that he would have to travel at the same time. And because he eventually gets the time stone, that he can probably shape to fit at the right moment based
He doesn't
on...
have the time stone at that point.
He does after the battle on Titan.
Oh, he does. You're right, actually. That's a good point.
He does that, but that does not negate the inaccuracy in Thor's side quest. I completely agree with you. Oh, by the way, my explanation of that is also a very convenient... Oh, he just used the time screen off camera, which I normally don't agree with. So,
well, yeah, there's always that. But then if you introduce that, then the whole... If let's say that the time and space stone let you travel anywhere and anywhen.
Yeah.
Or as Dr. Carl Sagan would say, somewhere else in space.
Yes.
Or somewhen else in time.
Oh.
Then... why would he go to the point where Vision is most offended instead of showing up in Scotland? You know what I mean? Relativity screws with the plot of Infinity War. Ben, you know what's a franchise, a nerd franchise that deals with this problem very well?
Go on.
It's a Warhammer 40,000.
Oh.
I don't know
something
if you know
you're
that.
a fan of, Michael.
It is something I'm a fan of, Ben. And this issue is one of the reasons I'm a fan of it, because they don't do things on a universal scale, except they do, but they don't really.
How
things
so?
happen on a... Well, let's say there's an insurrection of inducted human alien hybrids on a planet.
Classic Warhammer conundrum.
Right? Yeah. Exactly, yeah. Classic Warhammer issue. Someone will send word to the central government of the Empire of Mankind.
Yeah.
Not the central government, actually, because that would take too long. The local government.
Okay, so the sheriff.
Yeah, and then a strike force will arrive to deal with that problem. But because of the vagaries of space travel and stuff like that, they may well arrive 3 or 4 generations later.
Oh, so the insurrection could have been completely successful.
Oh, yeah. Or a whole new civilization could have sprung up in place.
Sprung up in its place, okay.
So Warhammer deals with it very well because it doesn't deal with human time frames. It deals with interstellar
cosmic time scales. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Anyway, that's my little thing.
No, it's an interesting point.
Go on, you talk now.
No. I just thought it was a really interesting point. I think it's kind of interesting. You are arguing with the suspension of disbelief.
Exactly.
In terms of that, but I kind of like it, given that there's very little actual physics at work in Avengers: Infinity War, I think. But I like it though as a point that it's all a little bit too coincidental with a pretty bow on it.
It does in terms of time.
But I especially agree with your point in terms of Thor. The Thor side quest makes very little sense.
In terms of time and space, but also in terms of motivation. But look at that Nando video. Ben, we better move on. Oh, one other thing, Ben, about Infinity Wars, because people were talking to us. I rewatched Guardians 1 and 2 recently.
Yes.
And remember last week when you were saying that Thanos was like a pinnacle of CG, and it's amazing how much performance they captured and everything in it.
Yeah.
How much of Joss Brolin is captured. I rewatched Guardians 1 and 2.
Yes.
And interestingly, as the CG is progressing, most of the other Guardians characters are practical prosthetics, and Nebula has really gotten worse.
She's gotten worse?
As you know, Ben, I'm quite the Karen Gillan fan. As all of our listeners know. And there's a lot of Karen Gillan in Nebula in the first Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
And then the second one, to make the prosthetic application easier, it became a full hood, basically.
Okay.
And then in Guardians of the Galaxy, when I watched it anyway, and as you know, Ben, I've seen it several times.
You have?
There's very little of Karen Gillan left.
Oh, okay.
Her cheeks are prosthetic. Her brow is prosthetic. There's basically none of Karen Gillan in the Nebula performance in Infinity War.
Oh, wow.
Have a look the next time you see it.
I will. That's very interesting, Michael.
Yeah,
they're stripping her back. Okay.
Well, they're overloading her with prosthetics, I think. For the sake of ease of application, they've lost some of the performance.
Okay, interesting.
Look. We'll talk about it another time. Ben, is there any other news?
The saga of old man Stan Lee is kind of back in the news.
Ben, he's a very old man.
He's a very old man. He's the oldest man in comics. That's probably not true, but he's certainly the most prominent old man in comics, apart from Old Man Logan.
Oh, very good.
It was right there, right for the taking, and I can only reach low-hanging fruit because I'm only about 5'8". Yeah,
that's true.
So he released his first ever tweet, Michael, and that was released on May 13th at 4:02 a.m. by our time, I think, by European time. And it says, "Today was the first day I ever did a tweet myself," which is the most old man sentence in the world, to do a tweet.
Yes, I'd like to do a tweet.
Did a tweet myself. Before today, my account was done by others. So someone has been screwing Stan Lee's account, which is just disgusting behavior. I still do not have any control of my Facebook. Someone else is doing it, not me. So, this might seem unusual because Stan Lee has been tweeting for years, Michael.
Yeah, but in the same way that, what's his name from Star Trek has been tweeting for years. The oh God, what's his bloody name?
You gotta help me.
The guy, everyone loves him, the camp guy.
I'm not. Oh, bloody.
Yeah, him.
Bloody. Yeah, I know who exactly you're talking about. Oh, hello, Mr. Sulu.
Yes, Mr. Sulu. What's his real name? Oh,
George Takei. George Takei.
George Takei. Thanks, Ben.
George Takei is his name. Yeah, but it's just interesting. I think this is just, another step in the big saga of Stan Lee. I don't know. He just seems to be having such a difficult time at the moment.
Ben, he's very old, and as cruel as it is, he is dying.
Yeah, but that's...
Maybe we should all just leave him alone.
Yeah, that's... I don't entirely disagree with that, to be honest. I don't entirely disagree with that at all.
Stop making him do cameos.
Yeah, that's a weird thing that he's just kind of trotted out because everyone enjoys that now. I don't know. Does anyone actually enjoy the Stan Lee cameos, or is it just something they feel like they have to do?
I think it's become a tradition now at this point, hasn't it? It's unavoidable.
Yeah, but is it necessary?
I don't think it's necessary, but I mean, he's also so close to death now that the first one after his death with a cameo is going to be huge news.
They're just going to CGI him, surely.
They might well do. Like, who knows who owns the bloody rights to his likeness? And
I think somebody
like
probably does. It seems like somebody owns some part of him in every form.
Yeah,
that isn't him. Basically, he doesn't own much, but everybody else seems to. Anyway, I was just interested in that in terms of that keep going. It piques my interest that such a huge figure in the comic book industry is so taken advantage of on such a regular basis. It's quite sad to me. But anyway, sure. Look, moving on from there. What do you think of Shane Black, Michael? What do you think? Of Shane
okay,
Black?
this is a nice segue.
Yeah.
I liked Iron Man 3, Ben.
Iron Man 3 was great. Do you know what I liked more than Iron Man 3?
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang was a phenomenal film, which helped to kind of relaunch Robert Downey Jr.'s career. Love that one as well. I also love the other guys with bloody Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling. I thought it was one of the funniest movies to come out last year.
Yes. That was 2 years ago, I believe.
Oh, it was 2 years ago. Well, it was one of the funniest movies to come out 2 years ago. Really snappy, really funny. I think he's like a better man's Joss Whedon, to be honest. I think he does smart, witty back and forth that's actually has some teeth to it. So I'm a huge fan of Shane Black. And the good news is he seems to have been given the reins to the Predator reboot.
Well, no, hold on. You are aware that Shane Black directed the original?
Oh, did he?
Wrote the original.
Oh, okay.
Wrote
I did
the
not
original.
know that. Sorry.
And is in it.
I did not know that at all.
Yeah, he's in it. He's the nerdy one.
Damn age gap. God damn it.
You see, this is what I was doing. I was going, let's play our favorite game. Let's figure out when Ben was born. How old are you now?
I am 27 next week.
You're 27 next week. And it's now 2018. So you were born in 1991.
I was.
very good. So that was after Predator came out.
Oh, was it? Okay, so I don't even have an excuse.
Yeah, no. Well, no, you were born after it came out. It came out in 1987.
Oh, that's a long time ago.
Not for me. I remember. Well, I didn't see it.
It's a long time ago for anybody, really, Michael.
There are people spinning in their not quite graves. No, anyway, John McTiernan directed it, Ben. And, and Shane Black kind of rewrote it and was in it.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. Interesting.
But here's the other thing. The new one is not a reboot. It's a it's a sequel. What's the name for both a sequel and a reboot? A seaboot.
A seaboot.
So, yeah, it seems to be a sequel.
Okay. That's interesting. Is it a sequel to the Adrian Brody thing?
Yeah, because that was also a sequel to Predator. But it's
so it's a continuation.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was to be an attempt at a reboot.
No.
My apologies. I'm optimistic. I didn't hate the Adrian Brody one. Was that Predators?
That was Predators. That was much maligned and probably a bit unfairly maligned because it's actually a decent enough film. It's
not a bad sci-fi film. It doesn't really hold up in the Predator canon, I don't think. But
well, you can be very precious about what the Predator canon is. Like, let's be honest. There's one good Predator movie, Predator, and Predators is probably the next best.
Yeah, I thought it was decent enough as a film. I'm kind of interested. I'm sure he's going to get backlash at some point for his work on Alien 3. Shane Black,
was Shane Black on Alien 3?
He was the director of Alien 3, wasn't he?
No, that was David Fincher.
Oh, it was David Fincher. Damn it, I'm all over the place. Did Shane Black do anything with Alien 3?
I don't think Shane Black had anything to do with Alien 3, Ben.
Oh, God almighty. I'm all over the place.
This is very good. I have to say, I'm really enjoying you being off your nut on medicine. This is
I don't like
this is giving us so much. This is so much material for Ben's retractions next week.
You know the most terrifying thing about this is the second I hang up on this long distance bloody. I'm gonna end up having a bloody fictional conversation with David Fincher and Shane Black in my Italian apartment. It's gonna be terrifying. I'm gonna be absolutely terrified when that happens. Yeah. So anyway, optimistically, we're gonna hope that is it the Predator? Is that what it's called? The Predator. It's kind of interesting. It's gonna be it looks like it's gonna be a father-son family dynamic kind of thing.
And then you have Olivia Munn as a sexy scientist.
But sure, you'd have to have Olivia Munn somewhere, wouldn't you? Better a sexy scientist than a sexy bloody ninja. Sure, look,
I don't know. I think that was a wasted opportunity in X-Men Apocalypse. I think she would have been an ideal Psylocke in a better movie.
That's what I meant.
Oh, sorry. Is that what you meant?
Silent Olivia Munn. Bloody silent Olivia Munn. She's better suited to being a sexy scientist where she actually gets some bloody lines and a bit of character motivation, and who doesn't think that a cool mutant is one with wings and an alcohol problem. But look, if we start on bloody X-Men Apocalypse, we'll never get through the podcast, Michael, so let's go from there. What do you think yourself anyway? Do you think it's going to be any good?
I think the trailer was spectacularly generic, but it's a real straight to DVD looking trailer, but actually, well, as you kind of said before you got very mixed up, I think there's enough history there that we can put our trust in Shane Black. The only problem might be that the Predator halfway through will be revealed to not be a Predator and turn out to be an English actor in a suit. Oh, hello! I'm actually not a Predator. I'm Brian. I'm from Liverpool. I've changed accent there in the middle of that sentence. Please don't kill me.
And we find out that it was actually bloody Guy Pearce all along.
No, it was an alien all along. Or Arnold or something. Who bloody knows?
Shane Black. Terminator. Excellent Shane Black twist.
Benjamin,
anyway,
speaking of
moving on from there,
which we weren't doing, but let's just fucking move on. Did you see a trailer for a Luke Cage?
I did. I saw a trailer for a Luke Cage.
What did you think of that?
I am I think it might be a little bit better than the first season. Sorry, I should clarify that. It should be better than the second half of the first season. I thought the first half of Luke Cage season 1 was excellent, and I thought as soon as they got rid of spoilers for a series that came out a bloody while ago,
year and a half ago. Yeah.
I thought when they got rid of Cottonmouth, they kind of shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, you're right, Ben. That next guy who they brought in, he was no good.
No, I thought he was the bloody half brother. I thought that was, what's his name, Stryker? Is that what they call him? He was a waste, and having his bloody deranged cousin take over, I think, kind of annoyed me as well. I was like, okay, whatever. I thought he was a great villain. I thought he had a bit of room to bloody go about his biz. Anyway, I think it looks decent. There's a couple of things that I really liked about it. It looks like they are not only acknowledging the weird Jesus parallel, but they're willing to take the almighty piss out of it by the looks of things.
It does look like it's going to be a little bit funnier.
Yeah, I think they're going to rebrand themselves, because I think that tone may not have sat well with a lot of people. Where towards the end he's just a righteous brother towards the end of it, and I'm not using that in a derogatory kind of sense, but he very much fulfills that role of blaxploitation characters too well. In that it was nice to have that blaxploitation theme running through season 1. Right. But it's almost not even an homage to it. It's a direct copy and paste of the blaxploitation team. And the blaxploitation team, knowing. Yeah, because the blaxploitation theme, while it's a nice nod to New York in the 70s, is not actually that applicable to modern day black culture. It's kind of a little bit on the nose almost, but that weird strong black Jesus character doesn't really fit. And it seems that in this one, you see a backlash from the church, because the opening sequence of that trailer is narrated by what looks to be a preacher of some kind.
I thought it was Bushmaster.
No, it's not Bushmaster who does the opening narration. Bushmaster is revealed to be the antagonist, but it's a preacher practicing his sermon in the mirror.
Ben, I didn't pick up on that, I have to admit.
He's very against Luke Cage's comfort with being compared to a Jesus type figure. And Luke Cage's arrogance can be seen turned up to 11 in all of this. He's become exceptionally arrogant in his righteous brother role, which I found really interesting. So I am cautiously, exceptionally optimistic for season 2 of Luke Cage. I'm looking forward to seeing it. And I think the villain looks absolutely fantastic.
The villain does look good, very good. When I first saw it, I thought it was Bushman from Moon Knight, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's Bushman!" But it's Bushmaster.
It would have been really interesting. But to be fair, Bushmaster is not traditionally a Luke Cage villain. Bushmaster is traditionally an Iron Fist villain.
Yeah, he has Luke Cage's powers though. Looks like he has Luke Cage's powers, but he has some sort of karate.
Yeah, absolutely. I think. It's a bit of a departure from the original Bushman character. The original Bushman character was created by Bushmaster character was created by Chris Claremont.
Ben, I was really hoping you were going to mess that up and say someone completely wrong. Shane Black.
No, I'm not that high. He was played by Shane Black in the 2020 movie Power Fist. But yeah, that's just in case you think I am actually that high. I realised that was a bit. But it was originally played by two brothers, or he's a character embodied by two brothers from the Caribbean. So you can see that Caribbean influence in the trailer. He's clearly not from that America.
And they're hinting at the voodoo a little bit.
Oh yeah, but I kind of dig that, because when you look at kind of Luke Cage's powers, it's all scientific. He's a very scientific soul. Well, he's not a scientific soul, but his powers are science-based. And I think he goes up against so many characters, and modern technology doesn't seem to be able to do much against him. Bullets bounce off. He seems to be able to survive explosions a lot more. I'm not sure the shotgun blast from Jessica Jones season 1 would have any effect this time around.
That was magic.
Yeah, he seems to be extra powerful this time around. So magic seems to be the only thing that really could take him for a whooping.
Although that might be a little misdirect, because Bushmaster traditionally gets his powers from the same experiment as Luke Cage.
He does. He's part of that whole thing. The same with Stryker and Diamondback and those other things. They were all part of the same sequence. But I think they might be jigging it around. I don't know whether they're going to play with that Christianity versus voodoo kind of element. I would be surprised if they did, but I'd be interested to see it pan out that way. And then I think we have to unfortunately suffer through the bloody return of Cottonmouth's cousin, whose name I can't remember. And they seem to be sticking with that. Is that her name?
Oh, Black Mariah.
And yeah, that's it. And they seem to be sticking with that awful theme of Harlem needs a queen. I thought that theme had run its course by the end of season 1, but obviously it hasn't, and it's to make a comeback. I would imagine what we're going to see is a very classic post-colonial narrative where someone from outside of Harlem starts to take over, and bloody Black Mariah and Luke Cage are going to be forced to make an alliance to take him down.
Okay, yeah.
That is to be my prediction. But I am looking forward to it because Bushmaster looks quite interesting.
Yes, I think he looks quite cool.
And it looks like we're going to... Yeah, and we're going to see some interesting themes of Black American identity versus Black African identity take hold. So
Ben.
Yep.
Ben, do you think they're going to deal with the click?
Which click? Hang on.
Ben's just having a big... Thanos, you big dummy.
Oh, no, it's definitely pre-Event 2.
Everything's going to be pre-Infinity War. Ben, let's wrap it up there.